Hi, good afternoon. My name is Narelys Toledo, and today we'll be talking about anxiety because anxiety is real. There are different types of anxiety. The four most known are the ones that we'll be discussing today, which are obsessive compulsive disorder, social anxiety disorder, post traumatic stress disorder, and panic disorder. Obsessive compulsive disorder is often known as OCD. This is the type of anxiety disorder where people have persistent thoughts of ideas that make them feel fear, and therefore they repeat the same action over and over again. For example, they might be afraid of someone getting into their home, so they close the door and then they keep on checking if they actually have closed the door. So they repeat this action over and over again. They keep on checking if they have or not closed the door. They may also be afraid, for example, of catching an illness. And so they are afraid of touching simple things for many of us, but for them it's such a big deal. Like, for example, the doorknob or car keys or credit cards, because they're afraid that they might have germs and they could catch an illness through these items. The second type of anxiety is social anxiety disorder. This is a type of anxiety disorder that can be confused with being reclusive, with being shy, but it is actually much more than that. Most of us may have experienced the feeling of being nervous or tense before a presentation, like you can tell I'm feeling right now. But this is actually normal. But for these who suffer from social anxiety disorder, it's much more than that. They actually feel that it's something that they cannot manage. And because of this, such a big fear, they avoid putting themselves out there. They avoid being around people or meeting new people just because they're really afraid and they cannot control these feelings. The third one is post-traumatic stress disorder, which is often known as PTSD. And this is the disorder that happen mostly to those who have experienced a horrifying or disturbing event. For example, those who have fought in war or that have gone through deployment in the military, they usually come back home from deployment suffering from PTSD because they have seen so many horrifying things that we cannot even begin to imagine. But this doesn't only happen to those who have fought in war. For example, women who are in an abusive relationship, they may experience PTSD later on in life, or children who have been abused or molested, they may experience PTSD throughout their lives. The last one, but not least, is panic disorder. The common symptoms of a person who suffers a panic disorder are unceasing heartbeat. When you feel like your heart is pounding out of your chest, when you feel dizziness, when you feel like your hands are sweaty, when you feel like you can't control a situation, and so your whole body is like it abandons you. Panic disorder happens a lot to people who are really, really stressed. It could be work-related stress. It could be that they're overwhelmed with school. It could be that they have financial situations where stress kicks in and they experience a panic attack. Although our history timeline shows a lack of interest in preventing and helping those who suffer a mental illness, nowadays it is actually something that you can talk about. You know that there is a helpline if you're suffering. You know that there are mental health specialists, and it's actually not considered a taboo anymore. Our future looks promising. So for those who are suffering any of these disorders or mental illnesses that I have discussed today, I encourage you to try to get help. Many of us go through it in our lives, so just try to talk to someone, maybe a friend, maybe someone you can trust. And if you feel like it's something so big that you cannot carry alone, you don't have to. Seek help. Thank you for listening.